Hello everybody, this is YSGuru, and in this video we are going to do the secret dungeon in Tales of Eternia. It's called Nereid's Labyrinth. Now to get there you got to be in a second playthrough, or in mania mode as it is in the Japanese version. And when you are, you'll notice here near the transfer station, there's this new object that's added. This kind of bizarre spinning red vortex thing. That is Nereid's Labyrinth. Now you can't use items in this dungeon, from the main menu, only from the battle menu, which means that you can't use holy bottles. But you can cheese one holy bottle on the first floor. As you see I'm doing here. Just use a holy bottle first. And you can actually use one for the first floor, but when it runs out, that's it. And you won't be able to use any more. And it'll just help, to speed things up. And there are 6 floors in total. And of course you have 6 main characters in the game. But the first 5 floors you have to solo. You have to choose one character, which can be quite scary. But the final floor, you have your whole party back. So basically the first 5 floors you have to solo. And since you have 6 characters and you got 5 floors, one of the characters you can leave out. And sadly I'm leaving Keel out. You can solo the first floor with Keel as well, but he's just really slow as he walks. He's got less natural TP than Nereid does. And yeah, his attack is pathetic, it's just swinging his little scepter thingy, but Nereid, can actually fight with quick key. Long range, so Nereid has an advantage over Keel. So out of the 6 characters, usually Keel is the one that's left out. And I'm not doing any cheesy tricks like a lot of playthroughs say, like, oh, you gotta farm the Colosseum over and over again for the herbs so that you get yourself to 9,999 HP and 999 TP or whatever. I'm not doing that. It's completely unnecessary. It's a waste of time. You can legit, complete this special dungeon without that. You'll notice my Nereid here only has 5,000 HP, but the TP, she naturally got that high. She naturally has really high TP anyway, so she maxes out automatically without herbs anyway. But I'm running from all the enemies because there's no point in fighting the enemies here. And as you notice, as I go back and forth, the rooms change. People say that this dungeon, each floor is randomly generated. That's not really accurate. The entire floor is not randomly generated. Each room is randomly generated. So as soon as you go off screen, you're always going to be somewhere else. So every single screen is randomly generated. The only thing that's for certain that's fixed is the exit, which I just went through there. And when you go through the exit, it'll put you on this small pedestal with the boss. And the reason for running, from all the enemy fights is to just conserve your gummies and your items, because you want to use them for the bosses and for the final boss in the game. Or not in the game, but in this dungeon. So here's the first one, the first boss of the first floor. Use Quickie to take out the ad. And Nereid is pretty resilient to spells, but it's always good to, keep an eye on her health. As you notice, I'm not 9,999 HP. And basically here, I'm just going to spam Shooting Star over and over again. It's a quick spell. Usually Keel is slower, so he can't get spells off quick enough. But Nereid is pretty quick at casting spells, and you don't want to be hit by this guy's physical attack. So it's pretty easy to run by him. Nereid's actually pretty quick when she runs, you'll notice. And you do have Quickie to distract the enemy. But basically just run back and forth, casting Shooting Star until Maxwell is maxed out. And then you can just insta-kill this boss. So pretty easy to solo with Nereid. You can also do this on the second floor with Nereid if you prefer somebody else for the first floor. Just you know, don't get hit by his physical smack in the face there, because he'll smack and then kick and then do a laser attack, and it can kill you if you're not, you know, the highest HP. But I'm just going to finish him here with the Maxwell extension. And just like that, floor number 1 of the secret dungeon is complete. Now, you know, you have to be in mania mode to access this place, so, you know, the Maxwell extension should be available to you, what I just used. It's only available in mania mode. So for the second floor, I'm going to use chat. Now, once again, for the rest of the floors, we won't have any holy bottles. And I'm not going to show the entire floor because, once again, it's, you know, every single room is random. You're just looking for that one fixed exit room is all you're looking for. And once again, chat can easily escape from all the fights, and you just want to preserve your items. Okay, so I went through the second floor. Here I am at the end boss of the second floor. Now, Chat is a powerhouse with her hammers. Just take out the ad first as quick as possible. She's a little slower, but don't worry too much about the spells. Once again, make sure to be careful about the enemy's physical attack. So just kind of keep your distance and, you know, use the basic gummies. But what you want to do here is use Chat's poison hammer. And you notice that 5,000 that popped up, that was poison damage. So as soon as the boss is poisoned, it's just a matter of time. And all you gotta do is just throw hammers at him. And just keep an eye on your life. And once again, I didn't cheese things and do the 9,999 HP and TP. You know, I just have a regular amount here. But Chat's hammers are ridiculously powerful. And they'll keep stunning him, so he won't be able to, you know, really do his physical attack on you very well. And just like that, he died super quick from the poison damage, which was doing 5,000, as you saw, every 4 or 5 seconds. So Chat's a pretty easy character to complete a floor with. I'm going from weakest, to strongest character because the floors get harder. So for floor number 3, I'm going to use Fog. Fog is really slow. I don't know who's slower, Fog or Keel, in the battle. They're both pretty slow runners, but Fog has the advantage of a ridiculous amount of HP. As you can see there, I haven't cheesed it or anything or used the Colosseum over and over again to get a bunch of herbs to max out my HP and TP. He just naturally has that much. So he could take a beating and not have too many problems. And once again, just run from every fight. There's no point in wasting resources Invariably, if you fight the enemies, you're going to take some damage, going to use some of your TP, and you'll have to restore it, and that just wastes resources. So one of the strategies while you're wandering around this place, I wanted to give some tips. You know, each room, each actual section is randomly generated, but the exit is fixed. So let's say you get to the four-way. The four-way room is key. When you get there, let's say you go up. The next time, see, here's the four-way. If you go up and it doesn't really lead anywhere, and you know you come to the four-way again, don't go up again, because up is eliminated as a possibility for the random exit. So you know, if you come to the four-way again, make sure to choose a different route. You know, go to the left or go down or whatever. Because even if you go up and there's nothing there and you go back down, the four-way won't even be there anymore. You know, you can't actually backtrack in this dungeon at all, because once you backtrack any way, any direction, it's going to be different than what you left behind. So technically it's not a completely random wandering challenge. You know, you don't need to wander around this thing endlessly, and it is possible, like if you keep going up and there's nothing there and you're constantly going up at the four-way, you're going to be stuck here for eternity. You have to try one of the different routes to find that glowing white thing that is the exit. And this is my setup. Basically for Fog, for the boss, I use Elemental Master. And just spam that over and over again. Once again, you'll probably take a beating from the spells that this guy casts, but you know, Fog can take it. He's got tons of HP, and you know, just keep an eye on it. Take out the ads as quick as possible. Might need to use physical. You know, attacks, just swing at him with your gun while taking some damage from the spells. It's not a big deal. Just don't panic. People tend to panic because you know, you're solo by yourself and you get juggled a lot. But once again, don't worry too much about it. You know, it's Fog. He's epic. And you can easily just use an apple gummy, you know, or something to restore a lot of his HP, because his HP is just so naturally high. Okay, so once the ads are gone, I'm going to make sure to restore a bit of health here. And then I'm just going to spam Elemental Master. Now you notice there, you can speed up the casting of Elemental Master by hitting up, down, left, right, you know, down, you know, those keys at the bottom of the screen that you can see by Fog's name. And so you can actually speed it up before he gets to you, before the boss actually can get to you. And just like that, Elemental Master just wreaks havoc. So really this Nereid's Labyrinth is not too difficult of a dungeon, because you know, you can run from all the encounters. The only thing you really have to deal with is the boss of each floor. So now I'm going to use Farah, since I consider her the second strongest in the game. And once again, I'll probably go ahead and just cut to the end here, because, as I mentioned, all the floors, every single room is just randomly generated. You just have to use elimination to find the exit. Sometimes you're lucky, but always take a different route. So it can be a little bit of a memory game, especially when you get to the four-way. Now, as always, take out the ad real quick. And I think they stole this boss, or this boss was stolen by Tales of Symphonia. In the secret dungeon in Tales of Symphonia, you can fight a very similar boss to this guy, this giant Black Knight with a ridiculously big sword, overcompensating for his little body maybe. But you just got to get this guy in the corner, and you know, quite a few of Hara's moves are great. The Shishisenko you can use to just smack him, push him into the corner, and then you can just spam almost, you know, 2 or 3 of her special moves. You can just spam them and he can't do anything about it. And that's all there is to the 4th floor. You know, once again, the strategy for beating this dungeon is, you know, basically knowing the bosses. Because all characters can pretty easily run away from the enemies that are down here. And even if you want to do experience farming, it's better just to skip the enemies still and just farm the 1st floor over and over and over again. Farm the 1st floor boss, and then exit the dungeon. After a boss, you can exit. You get a choice to continue or exiting. As you see here, I keep choosing the first option, which is continue deeper. But you can exit at any time and keep all your experience. And here we go with Rid on the 5th floor. Yes, his name is spelled R-I-D. It's spelled incorrectly in the English release. But since Rid being pretty much the toughest character, we'll go ahead and save him for the final floor. That helps make you feel a little more confident, I guess. You know, once again, I didn't use any herbs or anything to increase everybody's HP to 9999, so we'll be defeating Nereid legitimately without a ridiculously high amount of HP and TP. It's just, actually Rid has got a black onyx on. That's why he's got so much. I think he's got around 4,000, but he's got 8,000 here or so because I'm wearing a black onyx to increase his HP a bit. Yeah, once again, all that extra preparation and farming is really not that necessary. Take out the ads first, and basically we have a version of I said version, right? We have a version of Hyades here, basically from the 2nd time you fought him in the game. When we fought him in the library in Nereidi's hometown. If you watch the playthrough or if you've played this game, you'll remember. So he's not that difficult. Really, it's just the 2nd form, the 2nd time you fought him as a boss, and he has the same HP as when he did at that point, so he'll die much quicker here. So that's the hardest part, probably, is getting through the first five floors solo, you know, each with a single character. And once again, you can use Keel. People say, you know, Keel sucks, but I mean, Keel is totally doable. It's just Nereid is slightly better because she has Quickie and she has naturally, you know, higher TP than Keel does. As you notice here, they both have the same level, but Nereid has more TP than Keel does, and that's not from herbs. That's just from natural leveling up. And for the fight with Nereid here, this is my group. I'm going to use Rid, Farah, Fog, and Nereid. Nereid, of course, is for the healing. Use all the items you've picked up to buff up your elementals a bit. And yeah, this is just going to be like all the other floors, only this floor you've got your whole party back. But I'm still going to run from the fights. You know, they're much easier with 4 people. But since, you know, I really don't want to waste resources, I'm just going to head out and find the exit as usual. And the end boss for this final floor will be Nereid himself. Or itself, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty fun challenge. You know, it's a nice little dungeon that a lot of people aren't even aware of. I think the first time I played Eternia, I didn't even realize that there was a bonus dungeon. And I read it somewhere and I was like, oh really? So I had to start up my game, go through a second playthrough in Mania mode. I think the import version of Tales of Eternia calls it hardcore mode, but it's just called Mania mode in the Japanese. So there he is. So here's our chance to go ahead and make sure everybody's good and we're all set up. See, I've got a black onyx on both Farah and Rid. That's why their HP is so high. But basically, Nereid is for healing and a few spells to distract him. And then you've got your 3 tanks. Fog being probably the biggest tank. Rid just, you know, keep him occupied. And Farah as well. Now this fight can be a little scary because Nereid can cast spells almost instantaneously. So even if you're keeping him occupied or stunned, he can cast multiple spells back to back instantaneously. And the problem is, it won't even give you a chance to use items. It'll just wipe the entire party up. And you won't have a chance to res anybody or to do healing or even use an item. So one of the things that we have to do in this fight is use a all divide. A lot of people are wondering what's the point of an all divide. It halves the damage received, but it also halves the damage received by the enemy as well. But the thing that's different is we can heal and Nereid cannot. And also you can use items and Nereid cannot. And Nereid has way more HP than your party members. So by reducing the damage all around, it guarantees that your party will survive longer. I've got Destiny ready too, so I'll use that at the beginning of the fight. We'll summon our Destiny friends. But yeah, I just want to make sure you're all set up, and you want to make sure you have at least one all divide. And the only reason for that is just, it really reduces the damage that, his multi-casting spells do. And, that just gives you chances to survive longer. Of course, it, makes the fight much longer than it really needs to be. But, it's a battle of attrition. You'll just outlast Nereid. Since he can't heal and you can. But without the all divide, you'll probably die way too quickly. So make sure you have at least one. And it's kind of interesting, the conversation there was about Russians. And if you remember in the game, Nereid was imprisoned there. So It looks like Nereid, you know, has possessed one of the Regulus Dojo warriors, you know, from long ago. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how even this secret bonus dungeon relates to the story. You know, Nereid was imprisoned in Infidia, and so he's upset with those Russians, you know, from Rid's village. If you remember some of those backflashes, that's where he was imprisoned. And so he's pretty ticked off. So this is an incredibly long fight, especially after I used the all divide. You know, once you use an all divide, you'll be doing much less damage to him. So it really makes the fight much longer, but you know, it's manageable. Whereas without the all divide, it's definitely not manageable. He'll just kill your group way too quick. Just you know, keep an eye on your health. Have Nereid casting a resurrection. And, you know, just use all your items. You've been saving them this whole time. Might as well use them all. This is the place to use them. Really no other place in the game to use up your elixirs. As you can see, even with the all divide, it's pretty tough. He can insta-kill a character if he's focused on them, so just be careful and keep an eye on everybody's HP at all times. And even though the damage is reduced quite a bit, it'll go down before you will. And that's it. That's the end of the secret dungeon in Tales of Eternia, Nereid's Labyrinth. We leave a toasty corpse behind, and of course Nereid evaporates. And we got a little bit of dialogue between our main characters here, you know, about the Regulus Dojo and, you know, what happened with Nereid and how he had been imprisoned there. And then of course Rid now feels confident that we can defeat Shizel, because we just defeated Nereid himself. So Shizel's gonna be easy peasy. But you probably already defeated her by this point in the game. But yeah, for a fun extra challenge, I hope you guys will try out this bonus dungeon sometime. And I hope this video has helped you. Helped you to get through it. It's not as hard as people, you know, make it out to be. You get the H gauntlet at the end, sitting there on the chair. Make sure to grab that before you leave. And no, the H does not stand for hentai. The H gauntlet, the hentai gauntlet, it stands for hyper gauntlet, which is a pretty nice new equipable accessory. Nice little thing to take away from. Rid can use it, and you can use it in the Colosseum fight if you're struggling with that. But I want to thank everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions on this dungeon, you know, don't hesitate to put them in the comments, and I can give you some tips or some help. I did do a little bit of leveling on the first floor. Like I said, I just go through the first floor several times, skipping all the enemies and fighting the first boss to do a little bit of leveling up. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Try it out sometime. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Ja minasan, mata ne. I feel like running through this again.